What's up? What's happening? What's good? And we want to get into this particular discussion when it comes to Claressa Shields and Savannah Marshall. Yeah, they've been going at it back and forth on social media over the past few days, ever since Savannah Marshall got her win over Maria Lindbergh over in the Copper Box Arena this previous Saturday to go to 10-0 with 8 KO victories. She is the WBO middleweight champion, and people are trying to build up for a potential match between Savannah Marshall and Claressa T. Rex Shields. For those that have followed these two fighters for the past good amount of years, there are a few people or a few fans that keep bringing up that Savannah Marshall was the only fighter to defeat Claressa Shields in the amateur ranks. And for some reason, they want to bring this up a lot, like that makes Marshall be, I guess, overall worlds better as a fighter than Claressa Shields. But I mean, if we, just check what happened in the amateur ranks first, Claressa Shields had a record of about 64 wins and, one loss, with that loss being to Savannah Marshall, while Savannah Marshall, as an amateur, lost 15 times, won 58, but lost 15 times, was not an Olympic gold medalist like Claressa Shields was, a two-time Olympic gold medalist, including multiple losses to Nushka Fonjin over the course of, those last couple of years that Savannah Marshall was competing in the amateur ranks. But now she is there as a pro fighter, has been a pro since 2017, and has had a string of KO or stoppage victories. With that being said, we were talking a lot of stuff about potentially fighting Claressa Shields. You had Matchroom Boxing's Eddie Hearn say that we'll see what we could do as far as like making a fight. That is a big fight, standalone fight that could happen between Savannah Marshall and Claressa Shields. But Claressa Shields has been like, look, we done already told you, what it would take for this fight to happen, how much that I've asked for in order to make this fight happen, as I've been able to accomplish what I've been able to accomplish within 11 professional fights. She is the two-division undisputed champion in middleweight and super welterweight with her last fight against Marie Dicaire in March. And so she's like, well, even within 11 fights, I've, taken on, some of the best and the best in, women's boxing. And as many of y'all may know, she is now going to be in the mixed martial arts stratosphere. She'll be, having her fight over in, looks like June, right? So she'll go ahead and she'll have a fight there in mixed martial arts. And then, hey, if, things go right as far as like, the pay for a potential fight against Savannah Marshall, then yeah, that could happen. But these two had been going at it on Twitter. Of course, you had those comments from Claressa Shields to Savannah Marshall, that, she really wants to beat her up, that it's, a whole different, platform from amateurs to pros, that, Claressa Shields is like determined to, I guess, put it into what she said as, quote, the great white hope. But we have to see how that will turn out. As like I said before, on June 10th, you're going to have Claressa Shields be in the PFL League there for mixed martial arts on June 10th. We'll find out who that opponent will be a little bit later, but as far as like a potential fight between Claressa Shields and Savannah Marshall, that remains to be seen, as that would probably be the biggest fight that could be made at this point for Claressa Shields. Of course, you had that potential fight between her and Layla Ali being discussed last year before we had all the lockdown stuff going on, but that didn't materialize. So, with that being said, this is really like the top fight that could be left out there for this particular time for Claressa Shields. It wouldn't be a Katie Taylor. There wouldn't be a cat's weight for that. It had maybe a potential fight between Claressa Shields and, when she was trying to, make a fight there in the, I guess, the super welterweight division to, try to get a catch weight fight there with Cecilia Braekhus, who was the undisputed welterweight champion at one point until last year when she lost to Jessica McCaskill in Oklahoma. And as we've seen in March of this year, she lost once again to Jessica McCaskill. So a fight between Claressa Shields and Cecilia Braekhus, that ain't happening either. So what is left as far as like a big fight is concerned for Claressa Shields, it seems at this particular point, is with her against Savannah Marshall. Yes, the only fighter to defeat Claressa Shields in the amateurs. But it looks like, with that amateur win for Claressa Shields, at least in her part, she feels like that's the only thing that is just making a name for Savannah Marshall. I think that, she had said at one particular point earlier that, if it wasn't for Claressa Shields being able to accomplish what she accomplished in the Olympics, then this fight wouldn't have this type of magnitude that it does right now. But, right for the time being, that looks like the talk there in women's boxing for the time being. And we'll see if this fight materializes at some point later this year. That's what I got in reference to this particular topic. You can catch more on this YouTube channel. And we do have the podcast that's on through iTunes, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or whatever you use to listen to podcasts. We have new episodes available Sunday nights to Monday morning. Be sure to check that out. We would greatly appreciate it. On that note, folks, I am out. Peace.